So last week I was really struggling with the game. Momentum felt like it had swung against me, and it felt like I was going to be on the losing end of the most incredible comeback in FPL history. The pressure, which admittedly I've put all on myself, it did get to me, and I had a bit of a moment. And then on camera I dropped the FPL Nightmare character, so to speak. I let my emotions take over, and I gave you the real me. And somehow that seemed to turn the tide. Having fallen to 52,000 in the rankings and seen my mini-league advantage slashed from 93 points to 32, my head had gone. And then, just like my man Ricky Ricardo predicted, my lords started to come through for me. First, Johan Wisser ensured Gameweek 34 ended on a positive note, with a beautiful goal to put me a little bit further clear. Then in the week when Marmouche was top of all the predictors for goals, I avoided him completely and I watched him blank while Gvardiol got the clean sheet. And I know almost everyone has Gvardiol, but do you know who doesn't? The Gladiator, the man summoning all the magic he can muster to get back into the title race. He did not bring Gvardiol in. No, his transfer was Marmouche, and he'd given him the captain's armband. And in the space of those 2 days, the Thursday that ended Game Week 34 and the Friday that kicked off Game Week 35, I felt all that pressure lift. Because the thing I feared most in Game Week 35 was getting the captaincy wrong. Because if anything can wipe out an advantage quickly, it's your differential captain blanking while your rival's captain explodes. I've been on both sides of that coin this season. I've seen the Gladiator captain Umbumo for 36 points, while I've captained Isaac for 32 in a game week when everyone else went with the blanking Salah. Not to mention signing and captaining Bruno Fernandes for 34 points in blank game week 29. The swings of captaincy are often the most severe in FPL. But by the end of Game Week 35's first game, I knew whatever else happened over the game week, I'd survived the swinging sword of Damocles. Of course, there were still 9 games to go, and there was plenty that could have gone wrong. Bloody Aston Villa continued their personal vendetta against my team, with Martinez keeping a clean sheet that cost me in the overall rankings. And then my Rayo went and conceded twice despite Arsenal going full strength. What a terrible season it's been for defensive picks. Do you know only 3 defensive players have over 140 points? Alexander-Arnold, Matt Sells and Virgil van Dijk. The 4th highest defensive scorer is Jordan Pickford. It's been a shambles of a season for backline points, with small clusters of players getting points in small clusters of games, ones that never felt like quite the right time to bring those players in. Honest to God, next season I'm just getting 4.5 million defenders and 2 playing keepers and rotating them, because the points differences just aren't worth all the fussing and the chopping and the changing. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. So yeah, if we look at Game Week 35, Saturday was a bit of a nothing day, with barely anyone of interest playing, and that meant we were all set for drama on Sunday. And then again, nothing much really happened. It was a very poor game week on the whole, especially after back-to-back doubles and then the high-scoring free hit affair in Game Week 34. If we're honest, Game Week 35 was a bit of a damp squib, except for my lords, it wasn't. You see, I'd done the transfer I floated in my rant last week. I brought in Bowen and he got me a goal. My Brentford boys, they got me a goal and an assist between them. And then the greatest striker in all of world football, he strapped my captain's armband to his bicep. He stepped up to the penalty spot and he fired home 18 massive points. And after all the trials and tribulations, after all the emotional turbulence, I ended Game Week 35 back up to 35k in the world. And crucially, my lords are now 54 points clear in the world's greatest mini league. And there's only 3 game weeks to go. And not only that, that video I made last week, it's my highest viewed video of the season. And as you can see, I have not gone back into outer space this week. We're still in my living room. And there are 2 reasons for that. The first is that several people I respect in this community, they said to me that they preferred me being real. And after my experiences this season, I have a bit more confidence in just being myself on camera. So we'll go with that until the end of the season and then we'll see what happens. And the second reason is that in my delusional mind that forms narratives out of nothing, there's a part of me that believes this is what those FPL gods wanted all along. Maybe they wanted to break me down, to dispel all the illusions I've built up around myself, to force me to confront the end of the season not as the character, but as the man. Maybe their plan was to break through all my smoke and mirrors and force me to end this journey as me, because they have broken me down. I did crumble under the weight of the pressure I put on myself, but you built me back up. You who said I love the character, but I think I love the real you more. You who said this is what FPL content needs more of. Real emotion. People being honest. Even you who said I tried to show Nightmare's videos to my mates, but they couldn't handle more than a minute of it. Those of you who sent me messages checking I was okay. Those of you who wished me well in my quest. Even those of you rooting for the gladiator to take me down. And especially those of you who have had me on your own channels. Gary, Roberto and Stevo. I created this character to try and propel me to glory. To try and make a bit of an impact. And bit by bit you've all shown me it's not the character that connects with people, it's the emotion. It's being real, it's being open, and it's being truthful. And if I'm honest with you, like I always am, I'm grateful for the events that led up to last week's video. Because yes, I was struggling, and then I was open, and it started to turn around. And now there's 3 game weeks to go, and I'm so close. I'm so close to winning the League of Gentlemen title. And you know, I'm considering doing my first ever live stream on the final day, so we can all find out together if I can clinch that trophy. And whether I bring it home or ultimately fall short, that potential live stream would be pure, unfiltered emotion. And it seems you can handle that, and I think maybe I can too. So I'll have a little bit of a think about the live stream and I will let you know. But before we reach that final day, there are 2 game weeks to navigate. And that 54-point lead at the top of the world's greatest mini league is very welcome, because I have a huge decision to make on the free hit and I can't make up my mind. We know for sure that there are no more doubles, which is a shame, but it's a lesson learned for next season. However, the free hit is still a great weapon to have, especially given my lords are still 38 points off the top 10k. It's a big ask, but we have a fighting chance, and that cushion over the gladiator means we can go on the attack. The question is, in which game week should I use my free hit? Now I will say that game week 38 is a possibility, because I'm not above free hitting in the gladiator's entire squad. I'm not too proud to shithouse my way to this title. That option is on the table, and I am being open with you about that. However, it is not my preference, because I think my team looks decent for game week 38 without it. So if we look at both game week 36 and 37, both game weeks make a good case. If I go this week, I could have triple Man City versus Southampton, triple Forest against Leicester and triple Brentford against Ipswich. 9 players against promoted teams, as opposed to the 4 I have now, plus my 1 free transfer, which will likely be Kevin De Bruyne. I could then complete the squad with Palace and West Ham players against Man United and Spurs, giving me 15 players against what the FPL Wire call the Golden 5 teams. The 3 relegated teams and the 2 teams shamelessly sacrificing league position for Europe, Man United and Spurs. And there are various ways I could go about it. I could stack teams, going triple Forest defence against Leicester, triple Brentford attack against Ipswich, the Man City spine with either Marmoush or Haaland, and with the talismanic Bowen and Eze in there as well. I could spread the risk a bit more and switch Aina and Sharda for Collins and Wood. I could even keep Isak or Cunha, both of whom are excellent assets. There's lots of possibilities, and it's a good week for it because without the free hit I have Salah playing Saka and Raya. I have triple Newcastle against Chelsea. I have Kirkes against Villa or Munoz against Spurs. My rare alternative is Verbruggen. You know, it's not a bad team, but it's not great, even if I do bring De Bruyne in. The main thing which puts me off a bit is I'd be free hitting and starting 8 players away from home, which does not seem ideal to me. So then if we look at the free hit in game week 37, again it's a good week for it. If we assume I do Saka to De Bruyne in 36, then in 37 I have triple Newcastle away at Arsenal. My keepers are Raya against Newcastle and Verbruggen against Liverpool. Kirkes is against Man City. I'd have 3 players playing 3 days after the cup final. Milenkovic against Bowen, and tougher games for Mbeumo, Wissa and Cunha. If I free hit, then a lot of those issues go away. However, the problem in my eyes is the Wire's Golden 5 teams. The fixtures against them just aren't so kind. Ipswich and Leicester play each other, and while Everton play Southampton, we saw the dangers of relying on them in game week 35. Chelsea and Villa at home to Spurs and Man United could be tasty, but the question is who else is there to target? If we go with attack the Golden 5, then this is the best team I could come up with, and I think it's crap. Double Everton defence and McNeil, Cucurella, Enzo and Palmer from Chelsea, a defender Rodgers and Watkins from Villa, Jamie Vardy and Liam Delap. I mean, you could mix it around a bit, but it hardly screams hunting down the top 10k, does it? I mean, it would certainly be differential, and if it paid off then I would be laughing, but I don't think it even outscores my non-free hit team that week. And if I do deviate from attack the Golden 5 strategy, then I've already got a lot of players that I'd select that week, so free hitting in game week 37 just doesn't seem as worthwhile to me. So then maybe I should consider game week 38 for the free hit, but not in the sense of shithousing the Gladiator, just as in who is on the table. If I again target the Golden 5, then I'd be wanting 3 players each from Arsenal, Bournemouth, Brighton, West Ham and Villa. And look, that team looks great on paper. Double Arsenal defence, Kirkes and Estupinan, Saka, Bowen, Rodgers, Kluivert and Minte in midfield, Evan-Nilsson and Watkins up top and decent bench options. It could do the damage, but the problem is that I don't think it necessarily outscores my non-free hit team. And even more than that, I just don't want to finish the season without my Newcastle players at home to Everton, or without Salah. And I think Brentford versus Wolves will be an absolute goal fest. And this is what we have to remember with the free hit. The question isn't which game week could I get the highest scoring, it's which game week will the free hit have the biggest impact. Which game week raises my point ceiling the furthest. Scoring 100 points would be great, but if everybody else scores 95 points, then it's not a big deal. But scoring 68 points in a game week everyone else scores 30, well, those 38 points would take me right into the top 10k. You see what I mean? So I look at those 3 drafts and I think which one raises my point ceiling the furthest? Which one am I happiest to go without my Newcastle heroes in? and I think it has to be this weekend, even though there are so many away games. Because Liverpool versus Arsenal and Newcastle versus Chelsea are just too close to call, and instead I could stack the attack against relegated teams, and in particular I could maximise Man City against Southampton. I just think my non-free hit team also looks decent, and the worry is the players I remove could easily do well, and in doing so they could open the door for the Gladiator, and the shithouse finale would no longer be an option. Choices. I'm honestly not sure what I'll do here. Maybe targeting the golden 5 isn't the answer. Maybe I don't need a complete overhaul with the chip. Maybe my best strategy would be to save the free hit in case of emergency. Maybe I need to resign myself to the fact my free hit will not involve a mass overhaul, and figure out which game week I could improve 3 or 4 players I'm prepared to gamble against, like say Salah, Raya, Saka and maybe Isak this week, and accept that the diminished free hit may be all I need to get over the line. So let me ask you at home, you are the people on this ride with me, and you've helped me get here. What do you think I should do? Let me know in those comments below, because there are pros and cons to using my free hit in each of the last 3 game weeks, and I am struggling to be decisive. I am leaning towards using it this week, but I'm not entirely confident in that choice. The only thing I know for sure is that this season has been an epic, and with 3 game weeks to go the stage is set. The Gladiator knows what he has to do. He has to take chances. He has to have a gamble. Right now he's having the season of his life, and he is tantalisingly close to his first ever top 100k ranking. And the question for him now is whether he plays it safe, secures that silver medal in the League of Gentlemen, and hopes it's enough to secure that 5-figure finish, or whether he risks it all for glory. He makes some big balls calls, and he takes some wild punts on captaincy and transfers to try and close that 54-point gap. And really that's a far tougher question than when I decide to inject extra quality into my squad, and I do not envy the Gladiator one bit. He has been a worthy rival, and he has helped make this story the enthralling masterpiece it has become, and he may well still pull off the greatest comeback in FPL history. All I can do is try my best to secure that League of Gentlemen championship, and hope that in doing so, that free hit can see me sneak into that top 10k. 38 points is a lot to make up, there's no denying that, but the priority now simply has to be the League of Gentlemen, because that's what this story is built around, and that's what people will remember in the years to come. The overall rankings come and go, but championships are forever. And winning the world's greatest mini-league for the 2nd time, becoming only the 3rd manager to triumph on multiple occasions. That is the fairy tale finale to my FPL Nightmare. And so ahead of the 3rd last game week of what has been a captivating season, let me just say, may all your transfers be successes, may all your arrows be green, and may the FPL gods be in your favour. Land the knockout blow with the free hit by hitting those like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you next time.
FPL Nightmare, company pulling out more, yeah. I'm the greatest football manager to ever grace the old armchair, but the FPL gods hate me, and no one seems to care that my points are only average, and my ranking is not fair.